Furries are absolutely spoiled rotten, at least when it comes to avatar choice in VR. You can be literally any animal you think about these days. In fact, it's gotten to the point where we're just making stuff up as we go. Most furries are alright with just being a dog, a cat, maybe a fox, but I can tell you're only interested in the exceptionally unique. So let's take a look at some of the fandom species that have made their way into VRCHAT. And as a bonus at the end, I have an update on how one species community saw this series and decided to create their own lore. So let's go ahead and get started. With a name like Best Boy, you might think this next creature is a canine of some sort, but these fluffy creatures are actually inspired by a fursuiter named Telephone, who costumes as a Dutch angel dragon. Yeah, that one. The one responsible for making every fursuit sound like a dog toy. Anyway, this is another instance where a species ended up splitting from its original inspiration and becoming a community of its own. The community is known as the Best Boy Project. However, the species was renamed to the Fox Dragon. The Best Boys have been around since the era of Ugandan Knuckles in VRCHAT. The model has also seen some upgrades over time. There's multiple versions available depending on your taste. As for the background lore, there are 3 types of Fox Dragon: Earthen, Cave, and Lunar Fox Dragon. They reside on the surface, the underground, and the moon respectively. The species was once united, but nuclear war split them apart into these different societies. In VRCHAT, you can actually visit the world of the Fox Dragon in the Best Boy Island Homes or the Best Boy Tavern. I assume these are surface colonies, so hopefully the fox dragons you meet will be friendly enough. This next species might be a little more mischievous though. The history of the kobold dates further back than anything I've covered in this series. The name originates from Germanic folklore, where early kobolds were depicted as goblin-like spirits. However, kobolds in the fandom are often inspired by the more modern D&D race. These are much more draconian looking and tend to act as servants to more powerful dragons. They seem to have retained some of their mischievous nature, as they are known for creating clever traps for adventurers to wander into. They dig elaborate mines with traps to expand their territory, and ambush adventurers who trespass into their domain. They take strength in the elements of surprise in their numbers, but might flee if there's only 1 or 2 more kobold left to fight. I'll be honest, the kobolds I see in VRCHAT are more than happy just to sit around and be cute. But you might want to be careful if you're doing any adventuring or wandering into mines. And if you like kobolds and dragons, I've got a deal for you. This avatar is called the Raz Kobold. It's super customizable and fitting for any dragon-like creature. And in agreement with the artist, you can get 10% off with the code TAVO. A portion of the sale will go towards supporting this channel as well. Check it out in the link below. Our next species is a bit more tall and lanky. I'm talking, of course, of the Fenix. The Fenix is a fox-like alien creature with a huge double set of ears. This might be a bit obvious, but the name and design are similar to the real-life animal, the fennec fox. It also has the same name of a Fortnite skin. I don't think that there's much relationship there. More interesting is that the environment of their home planet, the moon of Zahara, has many similarities to the environment of the fennec fox. This planet hosts vast deserts, littered with freshwater oases among its harsh sands. It also has cave-like structures of an ancient civilization. This sort of parallels the way the real-life fennec foxes burrow underground, but these ruins spread far across the entire planet. It's rumored that the technology of these abandoned civilizations gets more complex the deeper you go underground. You might want to bring a Fenix with you though while exploring. Their antennae are able to detect changes in pressure. Their large and expressive eyes are also honed to see within the darkness. Around 20% of Fenix also have a third eye. There's a lot of mystery surrounding the Fenix, but perhaps that's just for you to explore further. But if foxes are too basic for you, let's take a look at something more flashy. Soundbites are musical beings defined by wavelengths of sound. Their makeup is completely unlike any other carbon-based life form, animating and morphing with the life of the music. However, a soundbite can't be formed with just noise alone, only constructed rhythmic melody. They feed on music and dance, much like other life forms consume food and water, in order to survive and thrive. Naturally, soundbites gravitate towards musical activities such as synthesizing music or playing as DJs. I mean, just look at the new Soundbite world. This is footage taken from their meetup, and I think you can get the idea. While a bit abstract, Soundbite avatars are best suited if you're looking to express yourself through music. Or if you just like chonky dragons. That works too. VRCHAT is amazing, but what did furries do before VR caught on? Well, there was another world they flocked to, one where you could play as your persona without any VR required, Second Life. Second Life is still home for many furries, and saw the rise of an original species, the Crux. And of course, it wouldn't be long until this species found their way into VRCHAT. Cruxes are mutant hybrids with striking fur patterns and thin, lanky bodies. They're the result of questionable mutant experimentation. Harvested from the morgue of an asylum, they were constructed from both animal and human parts. The Crux, an unknown entity from another plane of existence, bound to the vessel created, and was modified until it achieved a desired form. Due to this process, not all Crux end up the same, adapting to different places and time periods, while others are driven completely insane. There are several models of Cruxes that have been ported to or remade for VRCHAT, so take a look at the different ones and see if any appeal to you. I personally love this species, I just think the design is just so out there, so I kinda wish there were more around. This endearing mix of fur and scale is known as a freakhound, but make no mistake, freakhounds are the product of a science experiment gone horribly wrong. Seen here is Patient Zero waking up from its hibernation pod deep inside an unknown research lab. After a fierce battle with the warning tape, it escaped from the confines of its captors. Patient Zero also appears here, sneaking around the office, using company laptops for unknown reasons.
I did everything right.
It was just another day. Nothing could go wrong, or so we thought.
I don't want this to be on record. You're not recording this, right? Okay, cool. I think they're cute. ...
Those are the last recordings of the employees working on the Freakhound project. No one knows what happened to them on that fateful day. But we do know the Freakhound is now on the loose, blending in among us. Terrifyingly cute, adorably deadly, ferociously fluffy. That's the Freakhound. It's really awesome to see how the selection of avatars and different species has grown since I made the first few episodes of this series. One of the species I mentioned before is the Basuru. I noticed this species gaining popularity on VRCHAT and TikTok, but it had no real lore at the time, so I gave it a quick shout out in my last video. Well, someone from the Basuru Discord actually saw my video and worked with the community to formulate lore for this species. This is all kind of just a work in progress, so expect things to change as the community grows and more people contribute. The Basuru are a type of fluffy dragon, with a long mane and scales as hard as boulders. They boast wide mouths, useful for breathing flamethrowers and catching prey like a volley. I guess they want to cross over with other species right now. You do know Avali are ammonia-based life forms, right? Anyway, let's move on. On a lighter note, the Basuru's mouth shape means that their language consists of sounds like ma, ah, and a. No, I am not gonna try speaking Basuru. Two subspecies of Basuru also exist, one with no scales and all fluff for cold climates, and one with no fluff and extra scales. Overall, I think the Basuru have a good starting point for their lore, and I'm curious to see if the community stays engaged enough to evolve it. When these species communities share fantasy and folklore, it evolves beyond just a description and into a complete collaborative fiction. The community itself gives background and weight to your species of choice, and it'll be really cool to see what the furry community comes up with in the future.